For years, my change flavors of.
We're the kind of company that you could write them a letter.
Save me.
Oh, you feel bad.
So we're live.
Yeah.
Okay, great. So I usually close that though, and okay, great. All right, welcome everyone. I'd like to call the Town of Rochester Town Board July workshop meeting to order. You could all stand for the first one. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Councilman Alba. Present. Councilman Coleman.
Here.
Councilwoman Smeesa. Here. Councilman Nguyen.
Here.
Supervisor Noun.
I'm here. Okay, I just got a message from Eve that she can't find this. Hold on just a second. So the first item on the agenda is the acceptance of the agenda. Do I have a motion for that?
Make that motion.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor? Aye. Opposed, abstained, motion carries. So our first item is a presentation with Eve Walter. She's running a few minutes behind. So I was going to go ahead and open the continuance of the public hearing for local law A. If she gets here in between those two, we'll just invite it to the table since we don't have times associated with these public hearings. So to start, we will be opening the public hearing session for proposal law A of 2025, adopting the community preservation plan. So just as a reminder, the public hearing is an opportunity for people to put in their comments about the local law, and you speak directly to the board. We don't do a question and answer, we just receive the comment at this time. So our convention is that we start by taking comment from those who are present in person, and then we move to seeing if there's anyone who has joined us on Zoom who'd like to make a comment via Zoom. So with that, did we have a sign-in sheet? Okay, so is there anyone here who would like to comment on local law A of 2025? Adopting the community preservation plan. Yes.
I'm hugely in favor.
Okay. All right. Do I have anyone who has joined us on Zoom who would like to make a comment on the proposed local law A of 2025 adopting the community preservation plan?
Hi. Yes. Hi. I will read this quickly. My name is Christy DeBoer. I live at 254 Whitfield Road in Accord. I was a member of the small task force assigned to develop the community preservation plan for our town last year. In my day job, I'm the executive director of the Walker Valley Land Trust, and I've personally witnessed in New Paltz and Gardner how the development of a community preservation plan, which then led to a community preservation fund, has been so impactful to those communities, and this is a wonderful opportunity for our town. In working on our community preservation plan, I was moved by how many important resources we have and how much is in jeopardy. A community preservation fund, which I know is the next public comment, is a vital local controlled tool that enables us to protect what makes this town so special: our farms, forests, clean water, scenic beauty, and rural character. Through a small real estate transfer fee, the Community Preservation Fund provides a steady source of funding to preserve natural resources, protect outdoor spaces, and expand public access to trails and recreational areas. I also want to acknowledge that housing affordability is a serious and growing concern in our town. While the Community Preservation Plan and the resulting Community Preservation Fund, if approved, cannot directly fund affordable housing under state law, that does not mean that we have to choose one priority over the other. In fact, preserving open space and protecting community character can go hand in hand with smart growth strategies that include affordable and diverse housing options. We need both tools and a vision that embraces both to shape a resilient and inclusive future for Rochester. In establishing the community preservation plan, that frames and puts us in the driver's seat to create the Community Preservation Fund and protect land and water resources while also planning intentionally for housing and community needs. It is a powerful step towards long-term sustainability guided by the values of our residents, which we hold dear. Thank you for your time and consideration for this opportunity to invest in the town of Rochester's future. Thank you.
Great, thank you. Is there anyone else who is joining via Zoom who'd like to comment on local law A of 2025, adopting the community preservation plan? With that, has everyone been able to put in their comment for this? So I'll entertain a motion to close the public hearing.
Like, so, I'll say.
Any discussion? All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Abstained? Motion carries. We're gonna go ahead and just do the second public hearing and then we'll hear from Eve. So I'll go ahead and move on to the continuance of the next public hearing. This is for proposal local law B of 2025, imposing the real estate transfer tax. So this law imposes a 1% real estate transfer tax for residential property transfers with an exemption amount that is equal to the median sale price in the town of Rochester. So with that, I will reopen the public hearing. Is there anyone who is present who would like to speak on local law B of 2025? Is there anyone present on Zoom who would like to speak on local law B of 2025? Okay. With that, I will entertain a motion to close the public hearing for local law B of 2025.
So, second.
Any discussion? All in favor? Aye. Opposed, abstaining, motion carries. So next up, we're gonna have a presentation from Eve Walter, Public Health Director for the Ulster County Department of Health. Eve, you can join us at the table. Michael, could you pass me the, I have the PowerPoint presentation that I wanna pull up. Hi, Eve.
Hi.
It's nice to meet you.
Too. I first went to the town.
Oh,
And then I was like, there's only car here. Where is everybody?
I'm in confusion.
we would
Yes.
love to have more meeting space. Just shared your. Not that one. Sorry, guys. Oh, gee.
I also have it in a flash drive if that's helpful.
Okay, I think. I know how to get into this. You know. I use for my Google Docs. Wow, it's really.
Want that data?
All right. So while I'm doing this, we could all go around and introduce ourselves.
I'm Solid Win. Been on the town board since.
Okay.
Alexis Alba, I came in just before Sally.
Kate Gumber, town clerk.
You know, Erin.
Yeah,
I'm the
Erin
first
and I'm
one.
the town supervisor.
I'm the attorney for the town.
Oh, we could start with the first one.
Okay, I was just, there's another way I can open this and it's not letting
Yeah,
me do
it's
it.
interesting that it's a PDF as opposed to PowerPoint,
Yeah.
so it might be more scrolling than.
There's like a way to do it, put, just a second.
Yeah, I'm not sure why.
Open with Adobe or
Yeah,
Yeah. I mean,
up top, open, yeah. We probably don't have it on here.
oh, I know. Okay, sorry, everyone. I should have. Okay. Well,
we could just use this, well,
yeah. I
unless
will,
you want it on my flash drive.
I think this will be okay. If you're okay with it, I'll
Yeah,
just page
We'll
through it.
just, I'll
Okay.
just tell you when to scroll.
Sorry, thanks everyone for being so patient.
So
Good.
maybe you can. Okay, scroll up a little, I don't think they're done, okay. So, oh, I don't think we finished.
Michael Coleman.
Hi.
board member.
Hi.
And sure, let's be set for rounds of
So thank you all for having me here and for being here to hear it and anyone in Zoom land. Yeah, I'm Eve Walter. I'm the Public Health Director of the Department of Health, and I started in this position in October. And I've been, one of the things I kind of identified for myself when I started this position was I didn't really fully understand all the Department of Health had done. I thought I understood the Department of Health, everything that it does, but I realized as I got into that role, like there's so much happening there that I didn't realize. So it seemed to make sense to me to go around to the towns of Ulster County and present what we do in general and what we do for your particular town. So that's why I'm here. So I like this first slide because it shows that we have been here, Department of Health in Ulster County since 1947, with the mission to protect, promote, and improve the health and well-being of residents in Ulster County to achieve the best quality of life in all stages of life. So if you go to the next, you scroll down a little bit more. Yeah, perfect. So the Department of Health is dictated by the New York State Department of Health and Public Health Law 602. So there's some required services that we have to do by law. And that includes communicable disease control, chronic disease prevention, environmental health, family health, public health emergency preparedness, education on public health issues, and development of public health policies. So this is all dictated by law. We're funded primarily through what's called Article 6 funding from New York State to basically serve as the arm of the New York State Department of Health. So the way we do this here in Ulster County is we have several different divisions that are in the Department of Health, which I'm going to talk about in more detail, but I wanted to sort of show how they work together. So we have patient services, health promotion, chronic disease prevention, public health preparedness, and environmental health. And if you recall, those are the words you just saw on the other slide under our mandated services. In addition, we have a grant from New York State Department of Health to offer WIC programs for the county, women, infant, and children. And then as its own separate entity, the medical examiner's office is under the Department of Health. So we'll start with patient services. Oh, I can't see the little boy's face, but that's okay. So for patient services, we have public health nurses, and they do a variety of programs, including doing adult and child immunizations. These are limited to people who are uninsured or underinsured. By underinsured, I mean if their insurance doesn't cover that, we will be able to do it for free. We are also starting a home visit for high-risk births. So that would be reaching out to a mom who just delivered, if she had, there's several elements that denote high risk, would be very premature, the mother had preeclampsia or gestational hypertension or diabetes, and our nurses will go check in on her and the baby and help guide her to getting continued care. We offer weekly STI clinics and then treatment for anyone who is identified as having a sexually transmitted infection. And then we also have tuberculosis clinics and treatments. Anyone who has tuberculosis, we are informed about, and our nurses provide care for them for the entire time that they need to be in isolation. So they check in, they go over to the home every single day for the time period that the person until they are out of isolation. Our Women, Infant, and Children program provides nutrition for mothers and children. So that includes SNAP enrollment, breastfeeding education, and other kinds of nutritional education. We also have a program that provides access to farm markets, so coupons so that people can go to farm markets. It also has a wonderful app so that when they go shopping in supermarkets, they can scan a QR code and it'll tell them whether the SNAP benefits are covered for that product. So they don't have to go up to a cash register and be told that they won't have that kind of coverage. Environmental health is really big. So we protect the public water sources and approve water and septic plans for any new development. We also ensure safe food preparation, restaurants, food vendors, safe children camps, public pools and beaches, migrant farm worker housing, mobile home parks, and temporary residence, your hotels, motels, and those kinds of places. So all of them are permitted by us. We conduct regular inspections and don't permit them if for some reason they have issues or problems. In addition, our environmental health team works on lead poisoning prevention. There's a couple of ways that people come to our attention for lead poisoning prevention. One is if a child is identified as having a lead level over 3.5 milligrams or higher by their healthcare provider, then we are informed. And then we reach out to the family. They're required to have, they're mandated a testing of the home. And then we work up with them on remediation. Our nurses then stay with the mom or parents and to work with the kids until they're cleared, only when their lead level is cleared. We also respond to rabies and insect-related potential illnesses. So people can identify if they're concerned that an animal has rabies. We can go and collect it. They actually only collect the heads and they test it. If a person feels that they've been bit by an animal that might have rabies. Unfortunately, our contract is only with Health Alliance in Kingston Hospital, but the person can go there. They reach out to us. We identify whether it seems likely that there should be a prophylactic medication, and we are the ones who approve that medication and pay for it. It's a pretty expensive medication, so we cover that cost. People call us regularly with tick questions. We can test ticks. We do try to inform people that just because a tick might come positive, it doesn't mean the person is positive. We talk, our staff will talk to the individual about how long it's been there, what it looks like. Sometimes helping identify the tick is enough to sort of rule out certain risks. We regulate illegal tobacco and vape sales. So our illegal tobacco sales are vendors that are selling to youth. So we have a program where youth will go into a store and ask to buy cigarettes. And if it's sold to them, we will issue them a violation. They also go and look for illegal vapes, which right now include Juul and most flavored vapes. And so they'll go and do an inspection and we'll issue a violation. And in places that have continuous violations, we will close them down. In our health promotion, chronic disease prevention, we have a Heart Health Coalition and a Healthy Ulster County Coalition. So this is us working with other agencies across the county on these topics. We also do media education awareness. We have radio, TV, billboards, buses, social media, presentations and fairs, events, organizations, and schools. So we have a big present. We'll be at the Ulster County Fair this year, and you're all welcome to come by. And if you need your blood pressure tested or you want a cooling towel because it's super hot, we'll be handing those out and talking about heat vulnerability. And then we have public health preparedness. We work in partnership with Ulster County Emergency Response to prepare for disease outbreaks and weather-related events. What's interesting is, so emergency management, their action is to make sure everything is safe at a time of an event. But from public health, we have a slightly different perspective. So if there's an event that causes, say, a large power outage, they would need to make sure that people are, whether it's heating, cooling, there's a safe place for them to be. But for us, we want to make sure, in addition to what they're doing, that if they are using insulin that needs to be refrigerated, there's a way to keep it cold. So for example, we have this, I brought this medication packet. So for individuals who do have a medication that must be refrigerated, we'll provide these packets. It has a thing to keep it cold. So if they have to leave their house, they can put it in here. And it also says, don't leave behind. So if in the stress level and it's sitting there, somebody would know to take it. We're also working on a playbook on how to respond to all different types of either emerging diseases, vaccine preventable diseases, or other kinds of weather-related events, what we should be doing as a Department of Public Health. We also co-partner with the emergency management on the Medical Reserve Corps, which are people who volunteer to be called if there's ever an event. So this includes doctors, but also nurses, any other medical professionals, but also anyone who wants to be a part of the Medical Reserve Corps, even if you have no medical background, because help is needed by everyone. So we train you and prepare you. And if there is an event, you could get deployed. And then we have our medical examiner's office that does investigations for deaths that may affect public interest, such as sudden, expected, or unexplained deaths. So if somebody dies of old age in a hospital, that's not necessary for our medical examiners. They usually call us if there is a death, and then our medical examiners determine if they need to go to the scene and investigate something like a car accident or something like that. Our medical examiners are out in the field assessing the situation, and then we perform the autopsies to identify and call the cause of death. Okay, so here in Rochester, and I'll just say as a side note, we have AIDS interns, paid interns, 10 every summer. So next summer, if you know some youth who are college student or even adult who wants a job in the summer, doing some of the stuff that you just saw on that list, we always hire 10 every summer for about 350 hours. And one of the tasks I gave them during their downtime is to create the slides for the different towns. So I get to see a slightly different set of slides now, depending on which intern did it. So this is for Rochester. Any mistakes, we'll blame them. Okay, so for temporary residents and campgrounds, Ulster County Department of Health does inspections to on a number of these residents, including Club Cottage, Hudson Valley Resort, Innis, and all the other ones that you see there. So several different temporary residents and campgrounds. We also inspect and ensure the safety of swimming pools and beach facilities. And you've got quite a few here as well. Is that 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. I got to remind them in the future slides to put a little parentheses with the number. So these are all pools. I don't think any of them are beaches. They're probably all pools that we inspect and make sure they're safe. There's also Rochester's Children's Day and Night Camps allow children, oh, this is what they wrote, that's so cute, allows kids to gain valuable life lessons. So we inspect and permit several camps here that you see listed. This is quite a big endeavor. Camps, the camp permitting process is pretty complex because many of them, not only do we need to make sure that where the kids are staying are safe, the food is safe, where they're swimming is safe, and so it's a pretty complex process. In terms of manufactured homes, we've got several of those here in Rochester as well. namely those listed on this. And then in terms of inspecting water and septic systems and permitting water septic systems, we've permitted in the last year 10 different water systems and 60 septic systems here in Rochester.
You say water systems, do you mean like wells or do you mean share systems?
Usually not wells, the municipal systems, so you could have, well, so.
Shared. We have shared.
Shared, so if there's, well, I think it's something like if there's at least 8 units, there has to, it's called a water system, and so those are the ones that we do. Yeah. In terms of food services, we, there are 12 food service establishments and 4 mobile units. I'll also say that any of the fairs and events that you have here in Rochester, all of those food vendors have to get permitted by us. Are on the first day and throughout the event, our people come in and inspect their trailers and to assure safety. So just in closing, part of my mission in this role as public health director are these 4 parts. So the first one is improving public health trust. I think that we have seen, especially as a result of COVID, a real decline in public health trust, perhaps because there's so many different public health messages that were confusing to people or possibly conflicting, that we have a lot of decline in that in trust. And there's a lot of messaging out there even to this day that kind of makes it very difficult to know whether to trust us. So it's very important to me that our community in Ulster County trusts us, so that if there ever is a public health emergency and we're making a suggestion of what you need to do, that people recognize that we have your back. I think a part of getting trust is to improve awareness in our programs, that the more, like this kind of event and other kinds of things that I'm doing, the more people know who we are and what we're doing, the more likely they're going to trust us if we're telling them something. The third is to really identify and meet any unmet needs. So this is, a huge county, as you all know, and each municipality is very special and unique in its own ways. So while you saw our overarching focus, I would love to at any time ever hear from you all and whether there's an area that we're not addressing. It's challenging. We can't hit everything. I could say, for example, that health among the aging is an area that we're not quite there yet. Injury prevention is an area, but we want to do home visits of seniors and be able to assess safety, so I can combine injury and aging. So I just encourage at any time for people to let me know, here's something that we really need. And then the last is to really be prepared to protect our county's health. Especially, we are dealing some days with, we've had hurricanes and we've had tornadoes. I mean, the tornado went through Cripple Bush at least once, if not twice. We have massive flooding, we have fires, we have droughts, and really knowing how to be prepared for what's happening next. We have measles popping up all over us. Luckily Ulster County hasn't had a case yet, but so we really want to be as prepared as possible to keep everybody safe. That I'll just see if you have any questions for me or answers.
Does the board have questions?
I have a question.
Okay, we can just go around, Michael.
I have 2.
Okay, I'll allow it.
First, thank you for coming and educating us and being willing to hear feedback. I'm trying to remember, I think it was specific to vaccination rates for measles. And Accord in Rochester is one of the lowest in the county. I think it was like 70%. Is that an accessibility problem? Is that an education and outreach problem? Do you have any idea?
Yeah, so first I want to give an important caveat. So those are vaccine rates by completed vaccine by age 2. By age 5, the rates are much higher. For whatever reason, the state doesn't report it. I mean, it's important to be fully vaccinated by age 2, but because you cannot go to a school or a camp without the vaccine, by age 5, the rates go up. that said, it's a high risk age to be a baby and get exposed to measles. So it's interesting because it doesn't mean that those families refuse, it means they're delaying. And so, I think that education is an important thing. We do have the capacity to kind of, and it has been brought up to me to come to this community and find a way to, we could certainly provide it, but it's getting people who are willing to come in. So I think like the more the messaging can be, if you're gonna do it anyway, do it early. It's a little harder if a family refuses to ever vaccinate, but I think that we probably have an easier pathway to those who are gonna do it anyway. But to recognize how vulnerable their babies are, and I don't think it's access because even, FQHCs or, you can have no insurance and you can get that kind of care. If it turned out that it was an access issue, we'd be willing to go. I don't know if that we don't have necessarily a religious group like you find in some of these other states where there's large numbers. It's a religious group that's very against all vaccines. So I haven't really gotten to what's at the bottom of it here, except to say that I think it's a delay thing as opposed to a refusal. And so anything that you all want to do with us in partnership to sort of educate people on why they should not wait, we'd be happy to do it. And we'd be happy to even set up something here, a clinic to be able to vaccinate children and adults, and those who need boosters.
Yeah, thank you, that'd be great. The second question was, I saw you mentioned SNAP, and I'm curious, with changes at the federal level, the SNAP funding, what's the Department of Health plan for that? What are the expected impacts of that?
Yeah, so I wish I knew exactly what the expected impact, one of the challenges is a lot of the state money was already in the state coffers, like from previously. So I think most of what we'll notice will come in future years than right now. So we have not been told to stop yet. We have like little things like we're running low on our farm market vouchers, and we were told we can't order anymore. So there's like these small little things. So I think if I come back and visit next year, I might have a different story of exactly the implications. Right now, we are operating and we haven't been told to reduce who we put on that. But again, I think a lot of them, the timing of when they're supposed to take place and whether money's already been procured has made it hard to know what really the implications will be.
Sean? Yeah, so thank you. And for your presentation. So I have two questions too. Kind of changed now after my question. So the first one, you said it was about like 8 units that you said what you thought was the number that triggered to have a water.
Yeah,
A water supply, something around there. Is there one for septic that you have there, like a certain?
So septic,
unit?
no,
Is that
septic,
individual?
anyone who puts a brand new septic in, so any of you decide to move your septic, you buy a new property, put it, we have to, so we need to make sure that that's nowhere near anybody's water, yours or anyone else's.
Okay, that's
So
what
we
I
have to
thought.
prove every single septic.
I just want to make sure that that number up there was like the whole.
Yeah, everybody's.
For any type.
Any new one.
Construction
Yeah.
that has a bathroom in it, that was the number last year. Cool, thank you so much. And then, the number that Michael brought up, I was also gonna bring up about just vaccination rates, because I was shocked at that rate also, and and if your response for access, I'm gonna politely disagree. I think it is an access problem. I don't think it's residents delaying it or parents delaying it. We have some people who live 45 minutes from the nearest doctor. In some of the reaches of our town, like I luckily had a mother who would drive me all the way to Kingston every day to Golden Hill to drop me off at Head Start, but otherwise I wouldn't have had any pre-kindergarten education. So it's very hard because we're rural out here. We have a rehab, we don't have a library, we don't have any services out here. So it's
Well, that's
I
great
think that
news.
that's the
I mean, I hope
access
it's
issue,
access.
so like to me, I'm like, the nurse program you're talking about that goes and sees mothers, I'm like, if you had that, but that was a nurse that followed up to give. Second dose vaccines, they didn't have to travel to the doctor's office, would go way farther.
So I absolutely, I mean, so what I would suggest is, it's hard because, we're not a massive department. Anything that you can do sort of to bring together the people who need it in a way that's here, we could set up something here in the community center if you wanted to. Like, I'm happy to bring them over to us. In fact, I even have to that end, not just vaccinations, but I have a form. And I've offered it to like our Department of Aging, our Department of Youth, and other people, where it actually checks off if you get a minimum of like 4 people. And it checks off like whether they need a WIC consult, whether they need an immunization, whether they need an STI test. And once I know what is needed, I can send the right people to you. They can do it. It just sort of helps to know what they're gonna need. Like we can't bring every immunization, so I'm really happy to share this form. And if you all wanted to organize something where somehow you got people in one place, or even if they're in their place, but we know what to bring, because again, we can't bring our whole building. So I will absolutely get my nurses over to you to do those kinds of things. And one day I'm hoping to have more of a mobile medical van, because it's rural, but there's also people who are homebound, and love to have any kind of creative ideas of how to get to the people.
Yeah, that's what I mean, that's the best side. Because I grew up very rurally, and I luckily was at a very, I was at the only year that they did a hybrid where half of the week teachers came to me.
Yeah.
Because otherwise I would not have been able, my parents wouldn't afford
Right.
to afford the gas to drive 45 minutes both ways to bring me to school.
I don't know the relationship
So
with the
that's-
school
yeah,
board,
yeah.
but your school is kind of,
Yeah.
your elementary school should be geographically well located, that maybe that's even an
No,
opportunity.
it's much better now. This is, early nineties.
right.
There's pre-K that's in this area now, but before there wasn't.
Right.
So, but I'm saying vaccines is the same thing with doctors. There's no doctor's offices or primary care doctors, or let alone an OB or an OBGYN or a
Yeah.
pediatrician in our town. So it's Ellenville or Kingston, which are each a minimum of 30 to 45 minutes away. So if you guys have nurses that can home visit, if you have one that can do the follow-up for the second dose.
Yeah,
It's
I would-
much easier, I think, on parents in this area.
Absolutely, totally open for anybody. Again, it just
That's what
is,
toddlers
I need
when
to
you're
know
all
what they
dosing,
need.
Yeah, no, but that's what I mean. If
And
they
where
can
they
call
are.
and set up an appointment, and be like, hey, I can get out to my doctor with my kid needs my second measles or some form of that, but.
Yeah.
Following up, like,
So we can't do one-offs, so it has to be a little bit more
It has to be.
coordinated. It's just very
Gotcha.
difficult for them to just come all the way out here and do one, but I think we could work together on how do we coordinate it? How do we set up, like, here's a given time, and on that day, they're gonna go, even if they'll go door to door, or that people all meet in the elementary school or all meet in your community center. But happy to figure out a way. It would be, like I said, it's very difficult to do a one-off. But if there's at least 4, I would say.
Gotcha,
It's pretty easy.
that's what I thought of the postpartum program.
Well, that happens automatically, and they'll certainly talk to those parents and make those and be available for sure. But those are high-risk pregnancies, and those are only if the parent says yes to the nurse coming. So that happens. That will happen immediately, yeah. Yeah. And if that parent says, I need help for the second one, then the nurse would go for that too. Yeah, it's more of the people who aren't touched by us. How do you communicate to them? That's the harder one.
I'm not sure if it was your department, but I hemorrhaged during my second delivery and I received home visits when the nurse, and it was wonderful. So if it was you and hospitals trying to take credit, thank you.
It wasn't probably the hospital, because some hospitals do that. I mean, maybe it was us, but.
But it was wonderful, just having that
It's-
service is
yeah.
incredible, so thank you.
But
And I'm wondering, so do you work with organizations like DSS for permitting temporary housing for families?
I mean, they're a separate department
Okay.
than we are,
Yeah.
so that is not, we do ours, I'm certainly, we're. Communicate back and forth with the Department of Social Services as it's relevant, but that's on there.
Okay, I'm just asking because
Yeah.
we've had some, I don't know, I've had some complaints about the quality of the housing and
Yeah.
what we can do. to
What we
improve
can
that.
do
Yeah,
is we do what, I mean, for lack of a better word, this is what's called nuisance complaints. So someone can reach out to us and say, the place I'm at is insufficient. Our inspectors will go and investigate, and if they do see that it's a public health risk, they'll issue a violation to the owner. So that's what we don't place people, we don't, but if somebody lets us know that they are concerned about a place, whether they live there or even if they don't, you could say, I'm worried about this place. We'll send an inspector out there
oh, fantastic.
to check it out.
Where do I get contacted?
So it's our regular DOH number will get you to the right person.
Okay, and then that actually is a kind of answers part of my second question. Do you also accept nuisance complaints from the public over things like leaking septic fields or things like that?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, because we'll want to know if it's done poorly. It's typically, once it's all built, while we do investigate and say this is where it should be, we approve plans, we approve it before they put the dirt over it. It has to be certified by the engineer that got paid to do it. So in the end of the day, it's on them to get it right.
Yeah.
So we can only say, like, we think this is what's wrong with it and what you should talk to this engineer about, or explain what we think is happening. But an owner who hires an engineer, we can only advise and guide as opposed to, we're only permitting so much the plan.
Yeah.
As opposed to being forever permitters of the septic.
Right, got it. All right, thank you so much.
Yeah.
Great questions. I was smiling a little during your presentation because I was one of those people that thought maybe could have contracted rabies, and you said that the people that you call will coach about whether or not you should get the shot, and I called 5 times, I was like, are you sure I don't need to get the shot? So I was remembering that time when I
And
did.
of course, it was in the middle of the night on the weekend. Right?
I did. Well, no, I kept calling back because I was like, maybe I forgot to tell you this one detail. They really did, talk and coach and
That's good.
get to know.
I
did not
had
have to
shots, it was okay.
I didn't
And then
have to
you
get
get
the shot.
immunity for a
Yeah.
couple years.
This was when it was the stomach shot,
Oh.
and now it's no longer. I didn't have to get it.
Good.
So, but thank you. My main question is, what is the best way for our town to have this type of relationship with you where we are? I don't know if there's other towns that do have a more direct relationship where there are events, like we've been talking about, but just wanted to hear from you. I appreciate the presentation, but what can we do to
I mean, this might seem like a cop out, but anything you want. I mean, I'm here. My role is to make sure everyone in Ulster County is as healthy and safe as possible. And so there's lots of examples, right? So say you decide you want to retrofit this space to be a place that people can go to if there's massive power outage or something like that. Then I can have my team come and say, well, here's some of the supplies you should have on stock. The nurses might say, have these supplies on stock. So if we need to come and help you, we already have blood pressure monitors, or we already have this here. There's some grants even that can help retrofit a community center to be off the grid and be fit so that if you needed to make the community center a place that people would go to, we can help with that. If you had a town meeting and there was some concern about something related to something that we do, and you needed one of us, someone from my team, to come and speak to it, because they are super, super knowledgeable, like rabies, they're super knowledgeable that they can talk to your community a little bit more about what it is and what they should worry about, what they shouldn't worry about, and their what next steps. So you're always welcome to ask me if I could send somebody to something, or have a meeting to talk about things like, again, retrofitting your community center or something like that.
Great, and I think just to close, is there anything that you talked about that the board is interested in trying to make sure that we could have that type of resource available from the Department of Health?
So I don't know if this is you so much, but I know it's partially you, but the medical UCAT service, the medical ride UCAT service, that's for rural communities.
Right,
Doesn't service this community, and neither does the rural UCAT line. I
right.
know UCAT's separate from you, but specifically the medical one, that's for seniors, if we could try to get that.
So I wonder if
that'd be
Department of
helpful.
Aging. Yeah, I will talk to. See who I'm supposed to, because it's UCAT's not me, Aging's
Yes,
not me,
yeah.
but I
Steve
can find
Oppenheimer
out.
is the
Yeah,
director for
right.
the Office of the Aging.
Yeah,
so-
I will say, just,
I've called
full
both and
disclosure.
no one gives me answers.
Yeah.
Who controls who gets on the list, cause I am just trying to be the squeaky wheel.
Yeah, I will reach out and find and talk to her about it. It's interesting, just side note, is that when the executive knows that I'm doing this and she's threatening all of the other departments that they're gonna have to do it. I'm like, they're all gonna hate me, but maybe you'll have Sue and all the, those people in front of you sometime soon if Jen has her way.
That would be great.
Yeah, that would be great. I'm done.
Yeah.
Yeah, Jen, you're watching. Information and more requests from the town of Rochester board. And my only other question is, the presentation, the data that your interns pulled for.
Mhm.
Was that off of like one report from you guys?
Oh, no,
Or,
this is why I'm so worried about the numbers. No, we have several ways we track it internally. We use EHIPS, which is the state system where we have to put it. So it's kind of a shot because it's like of the last year. These are moving targets. Like today, they might have got the septic system and they've already.
Oh,
But
that's
that-
not the way, I meant more of like the mobile home parks and the camps, those numbers of how many you guys inspect.
Yeah.
I was. The number of mobile home parks up there definitely doesn't match how many.
Oh, well, let me know.
So
because
that's why I was curious, like, I'm gonna double check
It would
it,
be
but
the
we
ones that
have
we
more-
permitted in the last year. So if there are more, you're thinking more or less? More? Oh, that's interesting. I will say that every so often in these rural communities, I'll have someone driving and be like, what is that doing here? Because if they don't tell us, we can't permit them. So,
Oh, did you guys also do playgrounds?
no,
That was my other question
No.
I forgot before that I wanted to ask.
Yeah, no.
Was my
Yeah.
child care thing.
no. Yeah, the camp is really the water, the food, and the, their water system and their septic.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me.
Thanks.
Enjoy the rest of your meal. Does anyone have a medication that they need to keep refrigerated? Would you like?
My husband does, absolutely. We're always packing things in a cooler with,
It has a little ice pack in there that you can keep cold.
I save it for our anniversary and get them.
I hear you.
That's
All right, thank you.
It says don't forget. For your anniversary.
So our next agenda item is the public comment portion of our meeting where we invite the public to address the board. We do treat these like public hearings where it's not a question and answer session. We will receive comment. We request that members of the community that are addressing the board not engage in conversations between members of the public. And we do have the same convention where I'll ask if anyone who's present would like to speak, and then we will see if there's anyone on Zoom who'd like to address the board. So with that, is there anyone here who would like to make a comment to the town board? Yes.
So hi, my name is Ortiz, and I'm a resident on Cherrytown Road. I live next door to the Raptop solar field. And for 3 summers straight, we've been reporting a sewage odor to the Department of Health, so that was kind of good timing, I guess. To the code inspector and to anyone really we can think of. Every evening there's sewage smell and it comes into my yard. It makes it difficult to be outside or have our windows open on cool nights because it comes through the whole house. It's something other neighbors have also said they smell along Cherrytown Road. And it brings back fears of past sewage leaks that they experienced. We're told that a filtering system could help, but no changes have yet been implemented because we can still smell it. And then recently, after the Dude Ranch on the corner of Cherrytown and Sampsonville was also purchased by the same owners, myself and other neighbors have smelled a similar sewage smell coming from there in the evenings the last week or two. So now that makes us think that there's clearly something wrong at this site as well. And I worry about what this means for our health, to be inhaling whatever this odor is and what it might mean for water and potential risks of contamination. Beyond the smell is the issue of traffic. Numerous residents of our road have experienced dangerous, reckless driving. A few weeks ago, a camp-related driver drove headfirst into a ditch, almost flipping their car. A week ago, the constable arrested an unlicensed driver who almost hit me and my husband while we walked our dog. He was driving a U-Haul, honking and speeding past us. I've seen workers driving between the two sites, the Dude Ranch and the original Raptop camp, just yesterday in open pickup truck beds with people sitting there speeding. Other neighbors have shared similar experiences of near head-on collisions and speeding. And our road doesn't even have lines yet, but these people are easily hitting speeds upwards of 50 miles per hour. There's also concerns with the road deteriorating in places because of aggressive driving and heavy vehicles clipping at wrong angles and how that could lead to other issues, especially during storms. We called the constable and we've been told that there isn't enough funding for them to patrol on weekends, but we're hoping to put in, I don't know, a plea or something, that we can get more regular patrolling on Cherrytown Road, especially on Sundays in between 3 and 6 p.m. on weekdays when there's more activities from buses and parents and camp staffers. In addition to the speeding and recklessness, we've seen long lines of traffic from the camp entrances, as well as people stop in the road to text or talk on their phone. Giant coach buses come down the road regularly and it leaves little room for other traffic, and they come really fast around blind corners. This major influx every summer is creating these difficult and dangerous traffic situations, especially with the two owned properties on the same road. And not only that, but the plans to expand even further, and though that comes with claims that the occupancy won't grow, I fail to see how adding a 50,000 foot structure won't lead to more occupants. I worry what this might mean for increased traffic when it already feels like we're just barely making out of these scenarios that could end up tragic. In closing, I guess, I don't mind living next door to a camp, and I don't mind seeing an influx of people enjoying this town. I do mind not being able to use my outdoor spaces like my yard or taking my dog on walks along my road safely and comfortably. And I mind when I see the beauty and natural elements of our town not respected or cared for in a way that they deserve, and how they're treated the other 8 months of the year.
Thank you. Is there any?
I can comment on that. Well, I live on that road, on Templeton, and there's a lot of big buses on there lately. A lot.
Yeah.
And you come to the corner of Clay Hill and Sampsonville, there's a stop sign there, but they don't seem to think it applies to them. If anybody travels that road, they know that.
Is there anyone else who'd like to address the board?
They're also traveling on Academy Street, speeding and everything, and there's kids out there riding their bikes, walking their dogs. So,
You know, they're also.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Kind of well.
Please do not,
Okay.
okay? Is that,
yeah.
is there anyone who is on Zoom, who'd like to participate in the public comment portion of the meeting? Oops. Okay. Did anyone want to say anything else? Okay, so with that, I will close the public comment portion of the meeting. We now have town board member time where the board may address some of the comments that were made. So I'll just open up the town board member time.
I just want to say in response to Cherrytown and the specifically safety and road safety in general, we have had patrols on the weekends specifically of Cherrytown recently, from the constables. We've directed them to do that. Knowing the specific times that are highest from residents in that area is really great, so I'm gonna look into seeing if they are going at this time, or if, but see if we can direct them to try to make sure it's during that time or multiple then. And the other thing I wanted to respond to was that corner of Clay Hill and Sampsonville. I will say it's not just buses that ignore that stop sign, people have ignored that stop sign since it was installed, so it's just a generalized issue there, and so, but duly noted, and I think having a bigger presence there is what's needed, so just, we hear you, and I'm sorry that you're dealing with an odor outside of your house, and hopefully Department of Health will also respond, and shame she left, but get it done.
And I think we would all
Yeah.
ask the public to keep submitting
Mhm.
complaints, so we can have you know.
Yeah.
A record.
And if you have that written down, if you wanna email it to the clerk, then we can have exactly what you said in the written record,
My thing.
yeah, what you just read, if you have it, yeah, I was gonna say, if you have it typed, you can just email it right to the clerk's office, so it's in the written record instead, and then we can also see people repeat over anything, any of the, times and states that.
Well, if it's helpful, one of the neighbors said Tuesdays seem to be particularly busy for traffic as well, so I don't know if that's a good day that they take kids out for adventures.
Again, every incident, make
Yeah,
a
just
specific
encourage them
complaint.
to. run
Yes.
this.
Okay.
Michael?
I'm not aware of any funding issues that would impact patrols in the area, so. I don't think that's accurate. I think there are definitely capacity issues. We don't have full-time constables currently, but it's not a funding issue to my knowledge. And I don't know if you've contacted the Department of Health yet, but I know there's a camp by me that had an issue with their septic, and I think initially when residents were calling, they were Department of Health didn't come out right away, but I would encourage you to be persistent and you can contact Eve if you're not getting a response. If there is an issue, a problem with their septic, so.
Nothing to add. I mean, we do, the more written advice we get of problems like this, the more we can direct our resources to try to investigate on it.
So I would like to say that I receive a very high volume of calls in my office in the summer regarding several things. We have implemented a new record keeping policy, but also I personally cannot respond to every single call we get. So we are logging calls. I know the constables are logging calls and the code enforcement office is logging calls. We are aware of times. We are aware of days that are busy. I hear that there are requests for more enforcement, but I also think there are other opportunities and other ways of trying to solve this problem that, you know, is not enforcement. We are also trying to work with the property owners regarding ways to alleviate some of the traffic, and I know that some of that is being implemented right now. So I just want to also state that, like, just like Charlotte said, I think it's also really good to have an awareness that there are areas of town where just blanket wide we see stop signs not being used. I think a lot of people use Academy Street as a cut through. So I just want to be sensitive to the way that we talk about traffic issues this time of year, because, you know, I've had like really scary incidents, you know, all over town. But I do understand that there is a very seasonally very high volume of traffic. We have received a lot of reports. We're also working with the property management to be in touch with the companies, the bus companies. And that is another thing you can do that we've made them aware of, that if you are able to see the identification of the bus, you can report that to the Department of Transportation and to the bus company, because those are completely separate agencies that are coming up for a job. And, you know, obviously reporting, in addition to our constable department, we do have a good relationship with the sheriff's office. They've also been trying to be in the area more, and the state police. So I just encourage, you know, people to have that awareness that the town is, trying to make sure, like we do for all issues, we are very dedicated to trying to ensure that we are addressing these quality of life issues of people. So,
I had some unrelated things.
okay,
Well, first, I wanted to mention that we had started the discussion about the planning board alternates, and so that was brought to our attention again. So I think at some point we may want to put that on the agenda and finish the discussion. So I think we started talking about some ideas that they had posted. So an item for a future agenda. We did have a meeting with the Ambulance Improvement District Committee, specifically the Rochester Ambulance Improvement District, to review some of the financials. And they had some additional questions and clarification based off of some of the reporting that we're receiving. So the second quarter voucher was due, or maybe it's the third quarter. Second voucher was due, sign that this week. I've put in a request to KFAS to have an additional meeting to discuss some of those questions. And I think also to start planning, because apparently it's almost August and it's going to be budget season soon. So to start preparing for the discussion about future funding. So just want everyone aware that those conversations are ongoing. And then last, some good news. Actually, I saw earlier today that there were multiple grants in support of local agriculture that were awarded. And I think the town of Rochester got 5 grants from the county to support initiatives.
out of 9.
I was gonna say.
5 out of 9.
That's more than half.
To modernize and update operations. And so just emphasizes the importance of agricultural uses and agriculture in the town of Rochester, and really great to see that a lot of our local farmers and operations are going to be able to upgrade their.
Was it farmers who applied for that, or is it through something? Cool.
Full disclosure, my farm got one of those grants.
I was just gonna say, congratulations to Aaron.
But I was very excited to see what a strong representation the town of Rochester had in that program. There was $500,000 worth of funding available. And yeah, we got, I believe, 5 out of the 9. So.
And it was very diverse.
Yes.
Bees to flowers to
Dairy.
beef and dairy to vegetables, and I can't remember which one it was. Apples.
Apples.
Yeah.
I had something.
Okay.
Unrelated that I just wanted to bring up.
Okay.
Just since I was not here, I just wanted to say the one thing from the rec department that is not passed in time, that would have been in my report. That there is still time to sign up for the August 18th AARP safe driving course. Please call the rec department if you're interested. That's one of those defensive driving courses that gets you deductions on your car insurance. So give a call 845-626-2115 to the rec department for more info. And also the housing committee, we had our design charrette on Tuesday. Myself and Aaron were there, and it was just I think it was a really great workshop. I can't wait for us to get the actual concept back from our, tracing paper on top of a map of drawing. We want things on a parcel to be able to share with you guys. But it was just the conversations that happened where give a really wide variety of representation from town there too. Where different people saw different priorities and what should be supporting and going towards with a mixed use project with housing. So I'm really excited to show you guys. That was that last one. Oh, third one was I just wanted to bring up, just because it was on the report so many times. that I got several complaint calls that when the pool at the Hudson Valley Resort / Granite property was filled. A 2 weeks ago, a week and a half ago, that the apartment complex across the street lost water for 3 days. None of the residents there's over 25 apartments had water or plumbing. They delivered water tanks for people to fill for drinking water, but people couldn't do their laundry, people couldn't shower or bathe in the ridiculous weather we had. I find it a continued issue, the state of that parcel and the fact that we are considering letting them build something else on it and approving that our planning board has an application before them that's being considered when they can't fill a pool and still have let their resident shower. So, that's all I had. I just wanted to make you guys aware of it, because I went to, say something to someone and I had about 3 different residents. One actually came up to me at the, Arrowwood event that, that we were there and told me about it all and said, did you know? And my father was there, disclosure to the public. That's how I knew so soon, because my father had to come and shower and do all of his laundry at the house for a week. So. I don't know what we can do. Maybe I'll give a call over to Eve now after that. So I just wanted to bring it to your guys' attention. That is an issue for a large amount of.
Well, also you
in
can
that
give the
building.
planning board ongoing commentary, right? Citizens should be
Yes.
submitting.
Yeah, I tried to encourage that. The last time someone reported something for that building to code enforcement, they were evicted. So, most residents there don't report anything now. So. It's unfortunate, but yeah, that's where we're at. I'll encourage them to go.
So I like to use town board member time for you guys, but I also just wanted to let you know that we launched the new planning board software program. It is now, if you go to the town website, it's now linked. That's where the planning board pages go. I just wanted to show everyone what it looks like now. We do have some open applications that were put into this system. We are working on making them live, but we're reaching out to representatives one by one to make sure they know how to use this platform. So, and there'll be a press release going out, but if you go to either any of the planning board pages, it's now where you would be directed to the portal. We have lots of links to the portal, but you go there and it says no results, but that's just because we don't have any live applications. But once they're all located on the map. You can click on the parcel, see all the parcel details, the zoning district, all the details from our code. Members of the public could look at the projects, click on them, see all submitted materials. So this first page is where you would go. Applicants go to this page and they get a pop-up window and then create an account. And that's the user account is how the applicant has the special submission access. And they access
I'm not screen sharing.
Huh?
Were you trying to screen share?
I am.
Oh, you are? Oh.
Yep.
The green bar.
Once you have an account, it pulls up the application page and it's a digital application. Everything is uploaded. All applications will go through this platform from this point forward, so we will no longer be taking paper applications. The agendas for 2025, all the meeting materials, agendas, minutes, and videos have moved to this site. We have 2024 is on the other site. And then we have the, basic about information as well. So I just wanted to share that. It's exciting that we were finally able to do that. I've really enjoyed working with Abe at Unicolab. He's done a lot for us. And we are looking into maybe expanding the departments that we use this software for, so.
Congratulations.
And staff, I also would like to acknowledge and thank staff for how much they've been doing for this, so. Okay. Moving on to resolutions. I'll make this next resolution, so, because I have the numbers. For the approval and payment of abstract 7B of 2025. I'll make the motion that the Town of Rochester Town Board approves and authorizes payment of abstract 7B of 2025 in the following amounts. General fund unpaid is $66,923.90. Paid, the prepaid was $268.90. Highway fund expenditures are $27,069.06. Zero capital fund. $427.21 for street lighting fund. Ambulance fund, $54,917.50. And escrow fund, $1,587.
Seconded.
Any discussion? You wanted to make sure I didn't write this down. Any discussion? All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Abstain? Motion carries. So the next motion I'm going to amend from what's on the agenda. We're just going to do this for the municipal code aid. The zoning coordinator position we've authorized to work up to 40 hours a week, and that's what we'll just keep it flexible for now. So I'll make a motion that the Town of Rochester Town Board, well, I'll just read it. The Town of Rochester employs a municipal code aid scheduled at 37.5 hours a week. And the code enforcement office staff find it appropriate to increase this position to a full-time 40-hour-a-week schedule. Now therefore be it resolved that effective July 1st, 2025, the municipal code aid shall be scheduled for 40 hours per week, and that the town supervisor shall adjust the paid time off earnings accordingly effective to that date. So we, this position has been working that schedule since July 1st, so I wanted to make sure that we applied the paid time off for those couple weeks. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Abstained? Motion carries. All right, so our next item is this. I had circulated the 284 that had been sent to me from the highway department. I had a meeting with our highway superintendent, our deputy highway superintendent, and the highway secretary this morning, and we they did have some updated numbers. So I'm going to circulate. These are the final versions that for you to look at, but I'm going to explain what the differences are from what I circulated.
We're sharing it. We're sharing.
Sure. I have a marked up copy. So they got quotes back after they had sent me the version that I sent the board. And for the blacktop section, that total you'll see in that copy, we had in the version that you had seen $55,000. In this version, it's $99,450. But it still only includes the roads listed. And then below that, the wrap blend from Peckham was misquoted by the vendor as 600 tons, but it's actually going to be 750 tons. So we are increasing that, plus the cost was not in the quote that they got, so we're increasing that line to $25,000. This is a change of the 284 agreement. However, the totals are in line with our budget. So the 284 agreement that we had amended in May, I knew was a little bit under what we had budgeted. So I had told you at the time, I believe, that I knew that we would be amending this because they were awaiting also extenuating circumstances. So this is a much more accurate depiction of what's ahead of us. Some of these items that we had approved have been done. But this is a much more accurate depiction of what's ahead. And it is in line with our CHIPS funding and with our budgeted amounts. So. Mary Lou had suggested some slightly alternate language for the resolution, which I put in an amended version of the agenda that the board has. So if I could have someone make a motion.
Make the motion, whereas the town of Rochester and the town highway superintendent entered into a highway agreement pursuant to section 284 of the New York State Highway Law for the expenditure of highway funds for the fiscal year 2025. And whereas it is necessary to amend the 284 agreement to reflect updated project costs and or changes to planned work. Now therefore be it resolved that the town board of the town of Rochester hereby approves the amendment to the 284 highway agreement to substitute the work schedule as presented for the work schedule in the original agreement approved by resolution number 194 of 2025.
Second that.
Any discussion? All in favor? Aye. Opposed, abstain, motion carries. So we will all need to sign to each copy before we leave tonight on the signature lines. The next, do you guys want to just take a moment and do that, or you just want to
No,
pass
go
them
ahead.
around?
Sign all copies.
It's 20.
4th. July 24th.
You all copies?
Both copies, yeah. 2 copies. You have to refile that.
Yes. It's not a big deal. I have to all the next step. You said that.
All right. So our next resolution is an acceptance of a donation.
Sorry, 24.
Yeah.
That's why I need dates.
Charlotte.
Put it, yeah, sure.
Should she sign it?
Yeah, she didn't vote, so she didn't. You just need to have a majority.
Yeah. Okay, great. So Charlotte, we are up to number 11. Acceptance of a donation from the Accord Fire District. I'd like to make a motion that the town of Rochester Town Board accepts a donation of a 1997 International engine truck from the Accord Fire District for utilizing in the highway department.
Did you make it? Second.
Any discussion?
What is the highway department to use it for?
So I wanted to keep it general so that they didn't specifically have to, but they're gonna use it to blow out culverts
Oh, great.
and pipes.
They've been doing that for a couple of years, like a shared service. with
Yeah.
The.
And I didn't know they were doing this, but they showed up in my office and said, we want to give you a truck. So it'll be for the highway department, but
And have they built an estimated run rate for maintenance and repairs for the equipment?
no, we haven't. I have to, once we accept it, we'll have to get it on insurance and everything like that.
Are they allowed to blow out culverts on 209? Come on.
You don't even
You can
install
borrow
one
the-
on Paz
you can
right
borrow
for
the
me.
truck,
I'll do it.
My basement floors with a sub pump every time it rains.
Okay. So now we're up to our,
Oh, you're voting?
oh, I'm sorry.
I.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, abstained, motion carries. Thank you to the fire district for thinking of us. So next we're moving on to our local law resolution. So first, we're going to make our seeker determination, which is a roll call vote. So, I will now refer to, oh no, I'm gonna refer to this as local law A. So I'd make a motion that the Town of Rochester Town Board issues a negative declaration pursuant to seeker as presented on the agenda.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor? Roll call. Oh, sorry, I was gonna say roll call, but okay, I'll just say roll call.
Councilwoman Alba? Aye. Councilman Coleman?
Aye.
Councilman Sneeson?
Sorry.
Councilman Nguyen?
I,
Supervisor Now?
Aye. So the next resolution. Does anyone wanna take this one?
You want me to read that?
Or you can do it as presented. There's no amendments to that one. Whatever you'd like.
I'd like to make the motion for local law B of 2025 secret determination as is presented. To adopt as presented.
Roll call?
Councilwoman Alba?
Aye.
Councilman Coleman?
Aye.
Councilman Sneeson?
Aye.
Councilman Nguyen?
I,
Supervisor Now?
Aye. Okay, so now we're, the next two resolutions are adoptions. So I will now refer to local law A of 2025 as local law 4 of 2025. Adopting the community preservation plan. So I'll read this one just because laws are important. Whereas the town board of the town of Rochester has developed a community preservation plan pursuant to section 6S of the general municipal law for the purpose of identifying lands and community resources important to the protection of the town's rural character, open space, agricultural viability, and historic preservation. And whereas the proposed plan was reviewed through a duly noticed public process, including a public hearing held on July 10th, 2025 and closed on July 24th, 2025. And whereas the town board conducted an environmental review pursuant to the State Environmental Quality Review Act, classified the action as type 1, declared itself lead agency on June 26, 2025, and issued a negative declaration on July 24th, 2025, determining the action will not result in any significant adverse environmental impacts. Now therefore be it resolved that the town board of the town of Rochester hereby adopts local law 4 of 2025 entitled a local law adopting the town of Rochester community preservation plan as presented, and directs the town clerk to file the adopted local law with the New York State Department of State pursuant to the municipal home rule law.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
No.
Abstain? Motion carries. Good. Next resolution. Does anyone else wanna?
I'll read it.
Okay, there is a amendment to it that Mary, go ahead.
I'm gonna make this local law number 5, right?
Yeah, so now we will refer to local law B of 2025 as local law 5 of 2025.
I move that the town board adopt local law 5 of 2025 imposing the real estate transfer tax. Whereas the town board of the town of Rochester has proposed a local law to impose a real estate transfer tax for the purpose of funding a community preservation fund pursuant to section 6S of the general municipal law and section 1449 YYY of the tax law of the state of New York. And whereas the proposed local law is subject to a mandatory referendum in accordance with the provisions of section 6S, paragraph 1 of the general municipal law and article 9 of the New York State Municipal Home Rule Law. And whereas a public hearing was duly noticed and held on July 10, 2025 and closed on July 24, 2025. And whereas the town board conducted an environmental review pursuant to SECRA, classified the action as a type 1 action, declared itself lead agency on June 26, 2025, and issued a negative declaration on July 24, 2025. Now therefore be it resolved that the town board of the town of Rochester hereby adopts local law 5 of 2025 entitled a local law imposing a real estate transfer tax to establish a community preservation fund subject to a mandatory referendum, and it requests that the local law be submitted for approval by the qualified electors as a proposition on ballot of the November 4, 2025 general election pursuant to municipal section, this should be municipal law.
Yes.
Municipal law, section 23 of the New York State.
Actually, it should be municipal home rule,
I'm sorry,
municipal home rule law.
the New York State Municipal Home Rule Law, and request the town clerk to certify and file the local law with the New York State Department of State only after the referendum is held and the law is approved by a majority of voters.
Can I have a second?
Second.
Discussion? Real quick, Mary Lou, at our last meeting, which was 2 weeks ago, I had caught that the version I had originally emailed to the board was missing the 1% in the body, and you said make sure you present it in physically 8 days ahead. Do we need to say, and I announced at the meeting, that I was doing that, do we need to say that?
As long as you have it on
Okay,
your hands 8 days ahead.
all right. Yes, all right. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? No. Oh, sorry. Abstain, motion carries.
And I don't file this till after election, this law.
This, right, the first law you
Just
do,
wanted to double check.
number 5, you have to wait until it's approved.
And Mary Lou, I just wanted to make, we didn't have to do a roll call for either of those. Okay, just wanted to.
I'll check before.
So, we do, my understanding is we do have to come up with the language for the ballot proposition. And this all needs to be submitted by,
The deadline's the 4th. They told me anytime sooner would be great for them to review.
oh, okay. So I thought it would be good if we, so we would adopt this by resolution, the language, right? It's the town board.
Actually, usually the
Just type it out.
clerk does it by, I gave you guys suggested language.
Oh,
that-
okay,
So you can discuss it.
Sure.
And Kate can take a look at it too.
oh,
But
okay.
usually it's Kate and I who work on that.
Oh,
right, Kate?
okay, great. Yeah, I wasn't sure if we had to decide, but sure, we can go ahead and, so this, I believe there's a 100 word limit. I don't remember if it's, I don't know. There is a limit, so it has to be,
Yeah, that's why I
Nice.
made it
Yeah.
short, because I don't know what the limit is either, but I know.
so the proposed language that Mary Lou submitted was, this is a question, right?
Yes.
Shall the local law entitled Local Law 5 of 2025 of the town of Rochester, New York, entitled a local law imposing a real estate transfer tax, creating a tax to be paid by purchaser of real estate of real property in the amount of 1% on the conveyance of interests in real property in the town of Rochester or deposit into the town of Rochester Community Preservation Fund be approved.
Couple of questions about the wording here. Can we change imposing to adopting? And can we be clear that this is
Only on certain.
yeah, properties overly over whatever the adjust, whatever the next part.
I get that, but I don't think you're adopting it. I think you are imposing it.
Well, imposing is
We're
the title.
imposing the tax.
That's the title of
Imposing
the
is the
law.
title of the
Not
We can't change the
adopting
title.
a tax or imposing it. You have
Right.
to have it as imposing, otherwise we can collect that and charge it.
That's also the title.
And
Yeah, that's
yeah,
the title.
if it will fit in, I have no problem with saying on the purchase of real properties at a purchase price above the mean. That sounds mean. The median.
Since a conservation easement, for example, is considered an interest in real property, I don't think the intention is to tax conservation easement.
Right,
It's
yeah,
exact, those are exempt, yeah.
right. The thing is, we can't put in the whole law because we're gonna,
Yeah, it's all in.
so.
Yeah.
I mean.
So what I
I
did
did
was I
some
looked
more
at,
media and
I looked at ones that have passed recently
in Ulster County. I went back to
Hmm.
the old propositions for Kingston did it last year. We have more in it than Kingston had. And who else did it? New Paltz. Marbletown, yeah, so I went back and looked at those. So just the more you put in it, the closer you get to not being able to meet your word count.
Yeah, it is the median sale price of the town is called out specifically in its own section, but it is considered an exemption, and there are a number of other exemptions. So I don't know how much you guys.
Yeah.
think that we should list one exemption over others.
Right.
And what's on the ballot, I think that this is already enough verbiage to confuse anyone who doesn't know what this PPP is that's reading it.
You might want to put something on the website, you know. Here's the full law,
Yeah.
subject to proposition.
Yep, we have a page for it now. So.
Yeah.
Shouldn't purchaser be purchasers, plural?
I think so.
We're just picking one, whoever spends the most.
I mean, we could say purchasers of real property that exceeds the median price.
Or you can put purchases,
But why are we putting
uh,
one exemption, not
right, so
all of
there's
the
other
others
exemptions
listed
also.
in it?
How about if you put purchase of real property by the purchasers? Real property other than those exempted.
How about
Yeah,
just
there
not
you go.
exempted real property?
Yeah, that's fine.
Say that again?
Not exempted real property? And I would put creating a tax, second line, second word to the end, creating a tax of 1% to be paid by purchasers of non-exempted real property on the conveyance of interest in on the purchaser of real property in the amount of, let me start with, shall the local law entitled, as it is quoted here, a local law imposing a real estate transfer tax, end quote, creating a tax of 1% to be paid by purchasers of real property in the real property on the conveyance of interests, non-exempted interests in real property in the town of Rochester or deposited in the town of Rochester Community Preservation.
Would it be easier just that first place where we say the purchasers of real property? We say the purchasers of non-exempt real
No,
property?
I struck that first non-exempt, so the non-exempt is only in the second line up from bottom. Want me to read again?
Yes, please.
Shall the local law entitled, quote, local law blank of 2025 of the town of Rochester, New York, entitled, quote, end quote, comma, a local law imposing a real estate transfer tax. Oh, wait, you have quotes and quotes?
No, it's
No, it's.
There's this spread
It's a
of quotes.
quote.
Two sets of quotes.
that the name of the local law is in quotations.
Ignore the first and last quote on it.
Ah. Wait,
The whole
The whole-
section has quotes around it because I copied and pasted from Mary Lou's email.
He's right, you're missing an end quote after entitled, after New York.
yeah,
Local law 5 of 2025.
Let me start
The
over
town of
again.
Rochester, New York, New York, end quote, comma, entitled, comma, quote.
let me start over. Shall the local law entitled, quote, local law blank of 2025 of the town of Rochester, New York, comma, close quote, entitled, open quote, a local law adopting a real estate transfer tax, end quote, comma, creating a tax of insert of 1% to be paid by purchasers, plural, of real property on the conveyance of non-exempt. I'm sorry, on the conveyance of interests in non-exempt real property. In the town of Rochester, comma. For deposit into the town of Rochester Community Preservation Fund, comma, be approved.
I like it. They got.
Is the non-exempt in the right spot, though? I don't think it is. I think it's saying that we can't. It's saying that properties can't be non-exempt, not that the purchaser, it should be the first time you tried to put it in. To be paid by
Okay, yeah.
purchasers
I agree.
of unexempt real property in the amount of 1% on the
Based.
conveyance of interest in real property in the town of Rochester. Or
Actually-
deposit into the town of Rochester Community Preservation Fund.
Actually, it doesn't matter because both are, whether
The
it's,
property.
they're exempted by schedule of law, body of the law, right? So either would be correct, but I'm indifferent as to where it goes.
Well, I think if we don't, I think it's clear, I think the feedback is clear. So if we don't have to adopt it as a board, I think. Then you guys can
Yeah,
like
we'll
make
work on
sure
it.
it's like,
We had the idea of what you want us to say.
Yeah.
yeah,
And she's gonna listen to
Yeah,
the tape.
and we're
Yeah.
on the tape,
Like,
and
Warner
then-
Wolf, let's go to the tape. Let's go to the video tape.
and then we can share it before we send it.
Okay.
great,
Thank you.
okay. So. For our next item, we wanted to just have a brief update about our big tech project for the year. Mostly that we're getting, we have the licenses now, we're paying for them. Staff is starting to use the suite, so I think we're just eager to move forward. Did you wanna add anything? Councilman Coleman?
Are we just discussing as a group here?
Yes.
No, I think, it's. These types of projects are never easy, I think. We have a few different options, but I agree the priority right now is to get people using the new system and to come up with a solution to ensure that we can continue to have access to residents that we need to operate now.
Okay.
I agree. And I think it's just getting everyone familiar with using the new
The
suite.
new system,
Yeah.
I mean, especially technically. It's a technically superior product, it's easier for. The town.
Yeah, much easier to navigate, at least I'm sure FOIL requests for the clerks for all departments who have to search through their
Yeah.
emails for FOIL requests will be much easier now, so.
And if the board, we can start using our licenses and then I can Dropbox.
Yes.
Which I'm paying for. We're still paying for, so maybe we should make it a goal to do that by the end of the month-ish. It's pretty straightforward.
Can whoever has the instructions resend the
Yes.
instructions?
It's very straightforward. Oh, great, we can add we have like
Yeah,
a
I
little.
get it. You can delete mine, Aaron, I say confident.
Okay, great. Yeah, I think this is a very important project for the board, and I think it'll only enable us to do better things. So with that, that's the end of our agenda, and we now have an executive session.
I move that we go into executive session to discuss. Matters leading to the appointment of particular persons. And discussion of matters leading to the removal or discipline of particular persons at 8:20 PM.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, abstained, motion carries.